Welcome to today's episode. We're diving into a fascinating topic, web scraping, and how tools like the Contact Info Scraper can help you extract business contact information efficiently. It's something that could be a game changer for anyone involved in sales, marketing, or even research. What do you think, Bea?
Oh, absolutely. Web scraping has grown so much, and it's becoming one of the most effective ways to gather large amounts of data from the web. This particular tool we're talking about today, the Contact Info Scraper, specializes in extracting business contact information. It's a real time saver, especially for people who need to collect contacts at scale. What's interesting is how it's tailored for business use. No need to dig through endless pages.
Yeah, that's true. The tool essentially automates the process, right? Instead of manually searching through business directories or websites, it can gather emails, phone numbers, and even social media profiles of businesses in just a few clicks. It's like having a personal assistant that works nonstop. But I think some people might wonder, is it legal to use these tools for scraping business contact information?
That's a great question. The legality of web scraping depends on how and where it's done. In most cases, scraping publicly available data is legal. However, scraping can become a gray area if you start collecting data from private or restricted sources without permission. And some websites have terms of service that specifically prohibit scraping. So you always need to be cautious. It's good practice to check the terms and make sure you're not violating any rules.
Yeah, so essentially, it's about respecting boundaries. When you're scraping, especially for business data, it's important to make sure that you're not crossing any lines. But on the flip side, when done right, it can open up doors to valuable insights. So Bea, do you think businesses are underestimating the potential of scraping for lead generation?
I think a lot of businesses are still a bit hesitant when it comes to using scraping for lead generation, mostly because of privacy concerns or unfamiliarity with the technology. But if used ethically, it's a powerful tool for acquiring new clients. For example, scraping can provide data like a business's email address, phone number, and even LinkedIn profiles, which are all critical for reaching out to potential leads. It's a smart way to automate the outreach process and build a contact list quickly.
Exactly. It's almost like doing a cold call without actually making a call. You get all the information you need, so you can approach people in a more personalized way. But beyond just gathering contacts, I think there's an element of data enrichment that's often overlooked. What are your thoughts on that?
That's where it gets really interesting. Enriching the data you collect is where the magic happens. When you scrape basic contact info, you can then go a step further, maybe use tools that analyze the businesses, check their website traffic, or understand their market. This kind of enrichment can give you insights into how likely a lead is to convert. Imagine having access to a company's social media metrics, revenue info, or even recent product launches. You can tailor your outreach based on that kind of data.
That's a good point. It's about using that initial contact information as a stepping stone to something bigger. Now let's talk about the tool itself. From what I understand, the Contact Info Scraper offers a pretty straightforward interface, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's designed to be user-friendly, so even if you don't have a technical background, you can still use it. You basically input the URL of the business website, and the scraper does the rest. It'll extract all the relevant contact information like email addresses, phone numbers, and other key details. And you can even set filters to fine-tune your search based on your needs. For example, you can choose to focus only on businesses in a particular region or industry.
I love that. It really streamlines the process. And another thing that's great about web scraping tools like this is how they can integrate with other platforms. I've seen some tools that can export the scraped data directly to CRM systems. It makes follow-up easier, right?
Absolutely. When you can automatically feed the data into a CRM, it takes the burden off of manual entry. That means you can start nurturing those leads immediately. Imagine if you were working with a list of hundreds or thousands of businesses. Manually inputting all that data would take forever. So the integration feature makes it even more efficient, and it helps businesses maintain a smooth flow of operations.
It also ensures that your data stays organized. Without tools like these, it's easy to let things slip through the cracks when you're managing lots of information. But speaking of data, what about data accuracy? Is the information that gets scraped always reliable?
Another excellent question. While the scraper does a great job, the accuracy of the data really depends on the quality of the source websites. Some sites might have outdated or incorrect information, and that's something to keep in mind. But if you're pulling data from reputable sources, the accuracy is usually pretty high. It's also good to regularly clean and verify your contact list to make sure everything stays up to date.
Yeah, data verification is key. So, B, let's talk about the kind of businesses or industries that can benefit the most from using a tool like this. Who would you say would get the most value out of it?
There are so many industries that could benefit. For starters, sales and marketing teams can use this tool to gather leads and build targeted outreach lists. But it's not just limited to them. Market researchers can also use scraping to collect data on industry trends or competitive analysis. Even job recruiters can scrape business directories to find potential candidates for certain roles. And then, let's not forget small businesses or startups that need cost-effective ways to generate leads.
That's a really good point. It's not just about big companies. Small businesses can use this tool to level the playing field. By automating data collection, they can focus on their core business while still staying competitive in the market.
Exactly. It's about leveraging technology to your advantage. If you're a small business owner, you don't have the same resources as a large corporation, but with the right tools, you can still access the same kind of data. It helps you punch above your weight.
I love that analogy, punching above your weight. All right, let's wrap things up. If you had to give our listeners one key piece of advice when it comes to using business contact scrapers, what would it be?
I'd say always be mindful of the ethical implications. Scraping can be an incredibly powerful tool, but you want to make sure you're doing it in a way that respects people's privacy and follows the rules. And beyond that, focus on quality over quantity. It's not just about collecting data. It's about using that data effectively to build meaningful connections.
That's solid advice. Be ethical, use the data wisely, and make sure you're focused on the right goals. Well, that's all for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope this discussion has shed some light on the world of business contact scraping. Until next time,